Let's switch gears now and turn our attention to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says Washington stands with Ukraine because it is the right thing to do. Speaking at the 20th Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting in Ramstein, Germany, Mr. Austin indicated that the U.S., the country's aim is to help Ukraine build a combat credible force for the long haul.
Our aim is to help Ukraine build a combat credible force for the long haul. The capability coalitions will let Ukraine's friends coordinate our support for years to come. And they create a coherent, nimble, and sustained approach to Ukraine's long-term security. The United States stands by Ukraine because it's the right thing to do and because America cares when freedom is at risk. But we also stand by Ukraine because it's crucial to our own security. The United States would face grave new perils in a world where aggression and autocracy are on the march, and where tyrants are emboldened, and where dictators think that they can wipe a democracy off the map. So when we invest in Ukraine's security, we invest in our own security. A potential Russian breakthrough, what we've seen on the battlefield is a series of incremental gains by the Russians. To the point that the chairman made a couple of minutes ago, these gains have come at significant cost in terms of personnel and equipment. But nonetheless, we have seen some incremental gains. And as I have engaged my counterparts and the chief of defense in Ukraine, they feel confident in their ability to continue to defend their sovereign territory and hold the line. But for right now, we're focused on making sure that we can get Ukraine the security assistance that it needs to be successful today and in the near and midterm. So.
Luxembourg has reiterated its support for Ukraine, saying Kyiv is not alone in its fight against Russia's invasion. This was relayed by Prime Minister of that country, Lech Frieden, at a joint news conference with his Ukrainian counterpart, Denis Shmyhal. While Mr. Frieden admits Luxembourg does not have all the types of weapon Ukraine needs, he says his country will support Ukraine in different coalitions with others.
We are on the side of Ukraine. You are not alone in this. You and your people have to fight for this, but we know that your fight is also our fight. Your war is, unfortunately, I must say, also our war. Because we believe that what you are fighting for is about the principles and values we stand for and we believe in since the end of the Second World War and since the end of the Cold War. We believe in democracy, the rule of law. We believe in territorial integrity, in sovereign nations where borders cannot be changed, by force. And therefore, you are fighting for our principles.
We need a total ban on Russian food exports to Europe. After all, these exports include stolen Ukrainian grain. We need an embargo on Russian oil and gas. Export control must be tightened to prevent evasion of sanctions. We are counting on the support of Luxembourg and all European partners. One of the key issues of the dialogue with Europe today is the confiscation of frozen Russian assets. In particular, according to preliminary data, more than 6 billion euros of Russian funds are held in Luxembourg. Our principal position is that these funds should now be made available to Ukraine.
Right. The VOA's Anna Sherenikova joins us live from Kyiv now. Anna, great to see you again. First, let's begin with reactions from Ukraine on the just concluded Russian presidential elections. I wonder, do people in Kyiv share the same sentiments and criticisms from the West about the polls?
Good evening. Well, as to the rest of the world, it was not a big surprise for Ukraine and for Ukrainians, the results of that elections, and Ukrainians do consider these elections as fake. And as President Zelensky said, President Putin is doing everything possible to rule forever. This was his comment on that, and also he said that it has nothing to do with the rule of law, and that those elections are not to be considered as serious and lawful. So he called it basically illegal, and this is basically the perception of what just happened in Russia from Ukraine.
All right, let's turn attention to the war and invasion. There have been a series of attacks on Belgorod, which Russia has continuously blamed Ukraine for. Any comments yet from authorities in Kyiv?
Ukrainian authorities do not provide any official statement on that. What we hear is the comments from general comments from the Ukrainian head of the Ukrainian intelligence, and he is saying that all such attacks. Basically, he's not confirming, but he's saying that all these attacks are to be continued, and some anonymous sources which talk to Ukrainian media and information that we are also getting is that Ukraine has something to do with that, and according to those anonymous sources, Ukrainian intelligence and Ukrainian security service, this is basically their special operation. But again, we do not have any official statements, any official comments on that from Ukraine. What we can say is that definitely those attacks are playing a positive role for Ukraine on the battlefield, and the facilities which are attacked, and the way they are attacked, and the results that it has is playing, a role for the supply of the battlefield, and in general economic situation in Russia. So this looks like quite an operation on the territory of Russia, and it has a positive sign for Ukraine.
All right, and these waves of attacks on the Belgorod region very recently had forced authorities in the region to shut down. We had reported to our viewers that authorities had shut down schools and shopping malls. So I wonder, I think for Sunday and Monday, so it's Wednesday today, I'm wondering, are the schools back?
You mean on the territory of Ukraine?
Yes.
If we're talking about those areas next to the border with Russia, the situation is more complicated than areas which are under shelling but deep into the territory of Ukraine. Because if we're talking, for example, about Kharkiv and Kharkiv region, most of the schools are working in the online format, or in Kharkiv there are some schools which work underground, whereas the subway is basically at the subway. So children, this is the only way children can continue to work. Otherwise, it's only online. And the similar situation is along the front line. All the pre-front line areas are basically conducting online education process and teaching process. Some schools are just continue online courses. Those who have a chance to do physical to provide children with physical education, those are open as soon as the danger of shelling is eliminated. Right. But as I said, most is online.
All right, and we're learning that 2 people have been killed in overnight strikes in Kherson. What more do we know?
This was confirmed. Unfortunately, Kherson and Kherson region is under constant shelling, and we're hearing about a lot of residential areas under attack, medical institutions, rescue, firefighter stations and rescue stations, humanitarian centers. So if just general comment is there are victims and there are injured people, and unfortunately, the shelling of these areas in the south continue every day.
Well, let's turn our attention to bilateral ties. The Kremlin says Russian President Vladimir Putin and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi discussed the Ukraine war during a phone call. We're also learning that Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba is expected to visit India sometime around next week as Kyiv looks to build on support for its peace plan. So I wonder, what do you make of India's stance on the war?
Actually, in addition, President Zelensky just announced that he had also a telephone conversation with the Prime Minister of India. So we can say that we can see that Ukraine is is building this new relationship, let's say, with India, because previously those were not that strong. President Zelensky announced that he thanked first of all, he thanked to the Prime Minister of India for the support of Ukraine's territorial integrity and Ukrainians' independence. And also he announced that Ukraine and India will be working more intensive on the trade and economic cooperation. Also, this includes pharmaceutical area as well as trade of the agricultural products. So Ukraine is trying to definitely to create this, new maybe a relationship era, if we can say this, but because India also has quite strong ties with Russia, so for Ukraine it's important to have its own, cooperation strategy and to make sure that India is either neutral or on the Ukrainian side, but not completely on the Russian side if we are looking at, at this more generally. So, this is on the way, and some more meetings was also announced by President Zelensky, so we will see how all this evolves.
And we know that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been appealing for aid, especially weapons, in his fight against Russia. We hope that in the coming days he will perhaps see more support, as we just reported a moment ago, seeing that support from Luxembourg there on the war. But thank you most kindly indeed for speaking with us. The VOA's Anna Sherenikova, live for us in Kyiv. Thanks, Anna, again, and please stay safe.
Thank you.